What's up, family? It is Caden with Urban Finance. I'm not going to be long on this live tonight, but I did want to talk about this article. California threatens to hold Black Lives Matters leaders liable if they fail to disclose details of the 60 million donation. And so I will read the article and we'll discuss the article. And I want to hear from you right after this. All right, all right. I look forward to discussing this particular article with you today because it is very, very interesting. And the goal of this is certainly not to bash Black Lives Matters or their leadership. No, 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 not at all. But I do think it was worthy of a conversation to have tonight. And so if you are live, just say what's up in the comment section, say hi. Feel free to join this conversation, this dialogue with me on tonight. And so let us read some of this. The leaders of the Black Lives Matter BLM organization will be held personally liable if they do not disclose information concerning the charity's 60 million in donation. Let me know if this comes as a surprise. According to the Daily Mail, the group's leader has 60 days to release information to the California Department of Justice, which alleged the charity has yet to submit its annual financial reports. The state DOJ also requested a copy of Black Lives Matter annual registration renewal fee report and its 2020 IRS tax forms in a letter it sent to the organization. Now, if Black Lives Matter doesn't comply, its charity exemption will be revoked. It could also face monthly financial penalties for being delinquent. The DOJ letter obtained by the Washington Examiner states directors, trustees, officers, and return preparers would be personally liable for all penalties, interest, and other costs incurred to restore exempt status. The letter adds charitable assets cannot be used to pay these avoidable costs. Now, that is a huge part there because that means that it will actually come out of these leaders' pockets. And so the letter comes after it was revealed the Black Lives Matter BLM organization has had someone in charge of its financial since co-founder Patrice Culler, sorry if I butcher her name, left the organization last May. Additionally, it was revealed that 6.3 million was transferred from the group to Culler's spouse, Janaya Khan, and several Canadian activists to purchase a mansion back in 2020, 2001. And so I honestly didn't even know that they were around for that long, but that is a very interesting piece right there. And I did talk about the several mansions that was purchased by one of Black Lives Matter founders. And so one of the things I certainly want to talk about is how much money, some of these people in leadership should be able to have out of these charities or get out of these charities. And so we'll talk about that. But while I continue to read some of this article, let me know your thoughts in the comment section so far. What's up, Thunder? Thunder said, this is a damn shame people gave in good faith. Shake my head. And so I will say, just all the back, I'll continue reading the article. The article is not accusing them of necessarily misappropriation of funds in this particular article. We know that, a few years ago, there was another article about something related to that when it comes to one of the founders having several mansions or using funds to purchase several mansions and if those mansions could be justified. And so, in terms of that aspect of it, I think that was certainly misappropriation of funds. And so, we'll keep reading this article. Um, Continue to read the article. Thunder said, but I did wonder about that. You can't write a check to a movement, only an organization. And what did they do with the money? And I think this is a beautiful point. I was reading a book by Minister Zumbi recently, and he was talking about Black power pimps and hotep hustlers. And I think that term is used to describe people who present themselves as all for Black empowerment, Black economic justice, but are really seeking out their own empowerment, their own financial empowerment. And I do think there is a fine line that, we can certainly walk there between, especially when it comes to charitable organizations not using the funds in which people gave, like Thunder mentioned, in good faith. So let's continue reading the article. Like I said, while I read the article, feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section and definitely say hi so I know who's live with us today. So the letter comes days after it was revealed the Black Lives Matter organization has not had someone in charge of its finances since co-founder Patrice Cullor left the organization last May. And so this is huge that someone has not been in charge of the finances since last May for the Black Lives organization. And I think this is huge because especially as Black charities and Black organizations that's supposed to be promoting Black advancements, I do think it's very important to have all of our ducks in a row because then things like this happen. And this bad press is not good for any Black charities. And I know that, as a Black community, we're not a monolith, but we all know that when stuff like this happens, it looks bad and it reinforces a negative stereotype that people already have, or many people already have, about Black organization. And they say to themselves, you see, this is why I don't give, or this is why I will never give again, because I tried to do something good and the money wasn't used in the way the organization didn't have the means to properly process, utilize, or even document how they were using the funds. It's still unclear who has been running Black Lives Matter's finances since Cullor resigned. In fact, all the three BLM founders, Cullor, Alicia, and Opal, have left the organization. That is something I actually did not know. So if you knew that, let me know in the comments section. Did you know that all of the leaders of Black Lives Matter have left the organization? And I wonder, not putting anything out there, don't want to start any rumors, but I wonder it is because some of them either misappropriated funds or had ideas of maybe other people misappropriating funds and did not want to be associated with that. And so that's one reason why people tend to jump ship. California isn't the only state looking at the organization either. Washington state has ordered BLM to cease fundraising in the state due to its lack of transparency. The National Legal and Policy Center will be filing a formal complaint with the Attorneys General of Washington and California to impose the maximum penalties on Black Lives Matters for their flagrant and repeated violations of charity disclosures laws in those states. And it seems in many other, Attorney Paul Kaminer told the Examiner. And so this is another thing. I do think when Black people, and I'm certainly not defending them if there was some type of misappropriation of funds, certainly not. But I do think when Black people do anything wrong, the hammer always comes down on them much harder so than it does on anyone else. And so, we all remember the whole financial crisis, Bernie Madoff, the whole slew of people that were committing practically predatory lending, a bunch of white collar crimes, and not enough people certainly went to jail back then. But I do think anytime Black people do anything wrong, the hammer is thrown at us. And again, certainly not defending them if they did do something wrong here, because I'm someone that always say, as people of color, we truly have to be on our P's and Q's when it comes to anything that we're doing, whether that's running an effective business, running an effective charity, because we know the world is looking. And to be honest, our own people is looking at what we're doing with the funds that they're giving. Let me know your thoughts. All right, a bunch of advertisements. That may be the end of the article. And there was another article that I'm not going to read that took a much harder tone on the subject, and I chose to pick this article because again, my point here is not to bash the Black Lives Matter movement. It's not to, without the actual due process, say that they misappropriated the funds and things of that nature. My point here is one, be very, very selective on who you give money to, because not everyone that claims to be for the people is actually for the people. And sometimes people start off with good intentions. And then when the money starts rolling in, they start to line their own pockets. And that's another thing that we often see with issues like this. And so, even with our politicians, sometimes we get our politicians elected into office, but after they get in office, they go behind the money in order to keep them in office. And also, if we're being honest with ourselves, to also line their pockets. And so I'm just going to take some time to read some comments and things that people have written. So feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comment section. If you have any questions and you're watching live, let me know in the comment section. All right, Thunder said, is there any way to find out how the funds were used and whom benefited from it? The name is BLM. I wonder how many Black people were helped, not minorities, not poor folks, not LGBTQ, but Black folks. And, Thunder, I do think you have a good point in terms of sometimes these organizations are created and then the money aren't actually used for the purpose that it was said it was going to be used for. And so Black Lives Matter, this organization's the funds should go towards causes that supports and empowers that particular initiative, helping Black people. And if you've been following this channel, one of my things or one of the things that I love is economic justice. I think that is one of the things that Black people need most in our society today. I do think as a community, we do a decent job of pushing the votes, but we have no way of controlling our politicians unless we have economic power. And so I think that is one of the things that's lacking today, our ability to control our politicians, and apparently in this matter too, potentially our ability to control those that we are donating money to help causes that we believe in. And so to Thunder, based on the articles, the attorney generals and the Department of Justice are looking to find their records or looking for them to submit the records. And if that do become part of public records, we will have a better idea of what these initiatives were actually funding. And so that's a fantastic questions. I will certainly, keep my eyes on the news around this issue and see if we can find out where the money is going. I always talk about this, because, I'm someone that contributed to Dr. Umar Johnson. And I'm not mad about it. I'm not upset about it. But I would have liked to see the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy get established. And too often, as a community, we put our money in things and don't actually see any fruit or any results of it. And so, with that, I'll also do a plug for the channel. If you want to support the channel, feel free to smash that like button. And if you wanted to, donate something to help continue creating content like this, feel free to either become a member of the channel where you will get perks or give a donation to the channel. I promise it will go towards what you're donating towards. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, let's get back to some of the comments, and certainly let me know if you have any question below. Is the Black in name only? This is a serious question. I'm actually upset about this. I have no idea, Thunder. It makes me think about the Congressional Black Caucus. They help everyone blood the Black community. They are Black in name only. And yeah, Thunder, like I said, our politicians are a prime example of this. of people who say they are for the community but don't always be for the community. But I would say I do think there are politicians in the game now. I always have to give kudos to Ayanna Presley, who I believe and I feel that are truly fighting for our cause and our community. And they are not just Black in name only, or Black people with white faces or with white money that is actually sponsoring their campaign. And so, shout out to all of the politicians that are actually real about what they're doing. And, that makes their job even that much harder. And, this is not a conversation about politics, but I always go on some tangent. I'll also give, our new mayor of Boston some kudos, Michelle Wu. I'm liking some of the things that she's going and doing. And I know she's going to receive a lot of hate, a lot of pushback for it, because anyone that is radical, progressive, and pushing an agenda and are willing to say, hey, this piece of the pie is for the Black community who have been disparaged, who have been discriminated, who have been stepped on and abused, are going to get a lot of heat. And I've always loved the fact that the Boston mayor, Michelle Wu, has always been comfortable and bold enough to say this piece of the pie is for Black people. I think that takes a lot of courage. All right. I'll read any final comments or thoughts you guys have, and then I will probably chuck up the deuces. I don't have any problem with other groups, but if they help is meant for us, then it's for us. No other group involves us when it's time to cut the checks, but for some reason we do the same. And like you said, Thunder, I'm someone that believes in forming allies across racial groups, but I'm also someone who believes in strongly advocating for what you want. I think it's important to be able to advocate for what you want as an individual and at what you want as a group. And so that can be Black people should be advocating for what they want. Asian people should be advocating what they want, and any other community should be advocating on what they believe to be in the benefit of the community. And that should not be looked down on. And so, thank you always for joining me. Like I always say, God bless you. This is a quick live. I definitely wanted to talk about this thing. I do think a lot of news are going to keep coming out about this issue. And I hope when, we get the final word on this, I hope that Black Lives Matter was doing at least after the last scandal, because we know they had some scandals and some issues with potentially, allegedly, misappropriation of funds before, but hopefully now things will be better. And like I say to you, my people, my community, make sure you know who you're giving your money to, because truly who you give your money to is who you give your power to. This country runs on economics, it runs on finances. And so, we need to be very intentional about the causes we support. I'm someone who believes in the supporting local causes and local organizations. I think we usually get a better bang for our buck. And even more importantly, when it comes to local organization, we're able to better hold people foot to the fire. And I think that's one of the reasons why I firmly believe in supporting local organizations, because there is someone that you can hold their foot to the fire. Sometimes with these large organizations, it is very hard to hold anyone's foot to the fire and make sure they're doing what they say they will be doing. All right, family, like I said, this is just a short live to talk about this article that I found interesting. God bless you, and remember to live your best life.